Believe it or not, I used to be a people pleaser until I decided to become self centered. And honestly, I believe that is the only way to live your life, especially as a woman. That is my philosophy.
Je vois la vie en Joyce.
As I mentioned in my rebranding announcement, La Vie en Joyce is about how I stay self centered and self trusting in the world that benefits from your self abandonment so that you can learn to do the same. The self centered philosophy is about creating inner peace and building valuable relationships with others without forsaking your relationship with yourself. Now, a lot of people will tell you that being self centered is selfish, but the two are different. To be selfish is about taking from others, whereas to be self centered is simply refusing to abandon yourself. Selfishness will say, I love only me, whereas self centeredness will say, I love you, but I love me first, and that's okay. Let's break the whole thing down, shall we? What is a philosophy? I'm a word definition geek who used to read the dictionary for fun when I was 9. Of course, I'm going to drop at least one definition in this video. A philosophy is a theory or attitude that acts as a guiding principle for behavior. So, the self centered philosophy is not just good vibes. There's a fly, it's still here. It's going to be here for the next video. But yes, the self centered philosophy is more than just good vibes. It's a lifestyle that I'm adopting in real time while inviting you to discover it with me. So it's not finalized. We're making this up together. So while I was on my break, I was actually on a trip to France. And while I was on this trip, I was confronted with all types of different people and situations. And I discovered so much about myself. I realized how important freedom is to me. And I realized how vital centering myself was when it came to navigating the different relationships and dynamics of life. So I developed some new angles to this philosophy, and I want to share all of that with you today and all of the change and growth that will happen tomorrow. But what do I mean by self centered? To be self centered means you live in a world where everything revolves around yourself. Basically, you reclaim your role as the main character of your life. This is not about performing as some charismatic, whimsical, and overly confident person. This is about acknowledging yourself, your well being, your safety, and survival as your number one priority without feeling guilty. You become the center of your universe and everyone else becomes an orbiting planet. Beautiful, amazing planets, but orbiting planets nonetheless. Being self centered is to acknowledge that if your life were to end today, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be the end of your world. We often hear nowadays about male centered women and how we need to decenter our mother, etc. Those concepts point to how people, more specifically women in these examples, actively focus on something other than themselves and will do their best to keep their center pleased. The problem is, even when you center yourself around something or someone else, everyone is still self centered because we are still self motivated. Let's take the example of the male centered woman. She will center men, but it's not because she wants men to be happy. She actually doesn't give a rat's butt about their happiness. What she wants is the reward of their approval, the feeling of their attention. Because even when you center something outside of yourself, you are still driven by your own interests and desires, which eventually creates a divide and misalignment. On the other hand, the self centered philosophy is about centering yourself in a conscious and intentional way. To do this, you need to clearly know who you are and accept yourself, or at least have an active will to do so. Which is why on this channel, I will also address topics pertaining to self love, self trust, self acceptance, and everything that nurtures the self. So, this philosophy begins with you and then pushes you to expand from there and interact with the rest of the world because we still want to interact with the rest of the world, right? Unfortunately, when you acknowledge that you are your number one priority, the world will usually try to make you feel guilty about it, which is why the concept of softness without self abandonment is important. When I say softness here, I'm not talking about performative femininity and never getting angry and always being soft spoken. You can be all of these things, but that is not the focus here. The softness that I'm talking about is the bravery to be vulnerable, real, and authentic. It is the courage to show up, speak up without being defensive, be wrong at times, and keep it moving. It is about connecting and being warm without leaving yourself behind. Let's take something as universal as dating, for example. We are all encouraged to play the game, right? A lot of coaches out there will just teach you actions and scripts mixed with some self confidence and self worth mumbo jumbo without actually teaching you the mindset behind it altogether. Well, me personally, I don't play the game, or at least I don't feel like it. But that doesn't mean I'm making up my own rules and hoping to win. What I do is that I take the rules and I see how they align with me so that I can play the game authentically. Let me give you an example. If a man does something to me that I do not like, I am likely to communicate to him that I didn't like that. And often the way that men will interpret this is, oh, she's complaining and nagging because she's already too attached. And this is why they get surprised by what happens next. When I communicate how I feel, it is not a demand. Matter of fact, if the other person gets defensive, I will tell them this is not a reproach. I'm just letting you know how I'm feeling. Usually that gives them the space and comfort to act authentically. One of two things will happen. Either he will hear me out and see my need and try to fix it, or he will dismiss it and give me a bunch of nothing. In the latter scenario, some coaches might teach you some mild manipulation to get the guy where you want him to be, or even teach you to give them the silent treatment. In my case, I will also end up cutting things off if they give me a bunch of nothing. However, what I used to do out of pettiness or even absent mindedly, I now do out of discipline because I am disciplined enough to not entertain someone who doesn't meet my standards just for the sake of connection. And by the time the man realizes that I'm not love struck, it's already too late. I love this approach for me because of two reasons. First, it allows me to not feel regretful. I don't know if sometimes you have those situations where you wish you had said something or you end up overthinking and telling yourself, oh, maybe if I had done this or if I had done that, things would have been different. So I just put my feelings out there and I see how you act. And if you don't acknowledge it, then at least I know I did everything that I could do. The second reason why I love this for me is because it raises the stakes so much higher. What I do is not out of ego or pettiness, it is out of self respect. So if I continue to entertain this person, I will have to look at myself and tell myself, you are not worthy of what you're asking for. And I'm I'm not playing with that. I'm not playing. I don't play about me. This world benefits from our self abandonment, and this is especially true for women. We are encouraged to always keep the door open, and we are told it is so that we won't lose out on love and opportunities. But the truth is, it is so everyone and anyone may have access to us if they ever need to. Still, I am not pushing for you to be closed off and trust no one. That is not my philosophy. Heck, I started this entire thing because I came to realize that no matter how much I love people, I cannot count on others to fulfill me. So, yes, I want you to be soft and loving and caring, but love yourself first. Care about yourself first. And yes, a selfish person might hear this and they might do the most, but I want to believe that this message will find the right people. Plus, I want to work on not over explaining and just accepting that I'm talking to whoever I'm talking to. So, yes, I'm talking to you whose algorithm brought to this video, not the entire internet. Get to know yourself first. Give yourself the time energy, love that other people cannot give to you because they also have to take care of themselves first. Love yourself first and trust that there will be enough for you and for others as well. Especially as women, we have the ability to create life. And I believe that if we pour into ourselves first, it will only multiply and then overflow. The self centered philosophy is balance. It is for those who want to protect their energy without becoming defensive, for those who value boundaries but also value connection. It is for those who are told they were too much and not enough at the same time and begin wondering if they were worthy of love. You are. We are. We just need to refocus and give ourselves that love first. So if you're ready for the ride, subscribe. This is just the beginning. I can't wait to grow with you, and I'll see you in the next one.